back, sewing probably was one of my biggest hobbies. That was before I ever got a camera, and I do still love sewing. I just don't do it as often as I used to. I used to make costumes and clothing and like all kinds of stuff. Something that I used to do was go to fabric stores all the time, and if I found like a cute fabric that I wanted to use, even if I didn't like have a specific plan for it, I would buy it because I was like, oh, this would look cute as a skirt or a dress or something. That is where this fabric came from. I have had this from Fabricville for several years, and when I remember the day that I bought it thinking it would make a really cute dress or a skirt or something, and I never ever got around to it. So I figured we should finally give it the life that it deserves and turn it into a skirt. This is the style of skirt that I'm going for. I think they're really cute. They come in like a variety of different patterns. I don't know what this specific style is called. I'll try to find it on like a website or something. I figured that this fabric would be a good contender to make a cute skirt of this style. I know that I need 3 pieces for the front and I think 3 pieces for the back. I don't do anything with a pattern. I don't do anything really professional when it comes to sewing. I basically just kind of wing it and hope for the best. So I hope you enjoy coming along for the ride. Since I'm not going to be using a pattern, I do like to go in with like some kind of plan. So I think for the front, we're going to have a piece that looks kind of like this, as well as 2 side pieces looking something like that. I'm just gonna pause you here really quick because after finishing the skirt, I think that this shape is wrong, and I think you should follow the shape here on the screen rather than the shape that I have on the paper. It's gonna work out better for you in the long run, so just trust me. And then we'll put like a little like slit like right around there. And then I think for the back we'll probably have something similar. We might have to put 2 darts like somewhere around there. And then what I'm gonna do is have one long piece just so that I have something to cover up the seams at the top. So I'm gonna take a measurement for all these areas. I know it seems confusing. That's because it is. Because I don't really know what I'm doing, you know what I mean? I'm just giving it my best guess, honestly. Oh, and then we'll need the length of all of these. Hope that makes sense. Yep. So this is 100% the hardest part of sewing anything from scratch, and it is the fact that you've got nothing to go on. You have absolutely nothing. So you're gonna need one of these bad boys, and we're gonna do some measuring. Not me filming at the absolute worst angle to give myself a double chin. First things first, I'm gonna do the measuring of the length because that's the easiest. Since I am wearing pants that kind of go up to as high as I would want it, kind of like where my waist like cinches in a little bit here, I am just going to measure from the top of the pants down to like maybe we'll say like 16 inches just to be safe. It's always good to cut a little more, that way you can shorten it later versus if you don't cut enough you're gonna have to start over, and we are going to try to avoid that. So since I just measured 16 inches, this is 16 inches, same with this one, this length. I might do a second measurement for the back just because the back might be a little bit longer, just in case the booty sticks out a little bit. You know, you just never know with these kinds of things. So we'll do another measurement for the back as well, but it will also be 16 inches for the inside of these pieces. Makes sense so far, hopefully. Maybe we'll do 17 for the back, just to be sure. Just to be sure. This is the back, so we're gonna say 17 for these bad boys. Like I said, if it's too long, we can cut it. Now my drawings are starting to get a little crazy looking, but it's only gonna get worse from here. But like once all these pieces are like cut, then it's the fun part of sewing it together and like watching the magic happen, you know? But until then, we have to deal with this. I don't know if this is the best time to be measuring my stomach because I'm definitely a little bloated right now from eating cookies and pizza today. We're just gonna go with it anyway. And try not to feel too badly about my body shape. Okay, just don't think about it. Just don't think about it. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. Since I'm wearing pants, this makes it easier. I'm gonna go from the seam to the other seam. It's about 18 inches. Now, okay, 18 inches. Now we need to divide this into 3 sections. What is going on over here? Or is it 18.5? Don't want it to be too tight. because this fabric isn't stretchy. Definitely a solid 18.5. Okay, we're gonna go for 18.5 in the front. Now I need to divide this into sections, and I definitely want to make sure that the 3 sections section in a way, oh my gosh, I'm so bad at explaining stuff. It's not even funny. So I want it to section in a way that like the seam lines up with where the little side slit is going to be. So I want it to be like kind of like right in the middle. So honestly, I'm thinking like 4 inches or 5, maybe 5. 5 inches? 5 inches looks pretty good. Let's do 5. So 5 on each side and then split the difference. We're gonna have 5 inches, 5 inches, so that's 10. So we're gonna have 8.5 inches for this section and for this section. Now, the bottom half, I don't know about that part yet. Well, yeah, I don't know. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the same thing for the measurements for this section. All right, I actually went ahead and just did it. It turned out to be the exact same measurements as the top piece. Surprise, surprise. I thought my stomach would stick out more than like my back, but I guess it's all pretty round. Now I need to work on the bottom section. So I need to figure out how wide I want the bottom of the skirt to be. Okay, my dudes. All right, does anyone say that anymore? My dudes? Obviously, like, this is the trickiest part because like your waist is kind of cinched in, and then, well, I mean, everybody's body shape is a little bit different. So this is kind of where like you've got to just do it however it works for you. For me personally, my waist cinches in a bit, and then I have like love handles that pop out, and then, you know, obviously legs get smaller as they go down. I think the best thing to do is just make it wide enough, make it come down wide enough that it will fit the largest area of my body, and then maybe we can cinch it in here and there and fix it up once the pieces are sewn together or like pinned together, you know? So let's find out what the largest part of me is. Is it the butt? You know what? I don't think it's the butt. I think it's the side, like the lower belly and side stuff. That's like 43. We're gonna wanna make it like an inch or two, like maybe an inch, yeah, inch or two bigger, just because like, obviously you wanna be able to move your legs, you know? Okay, let's check. No, you know what? Maybe the butt is the biggest. Sorry, I keep like looking in my mirror to like see what's happening. Just pick a measurement. Pick a measurement. I want to go for, let's do 45. I feel like 44 is a good, wait, maybe not 45. 45 feels kind of big. No, maybe 45 is not that. Nah, Okay, this is what 45 looks like. There's a little bit of room. This is what 44 looks like. Also a bit of room. So down here, it'll be like this big, but up here, where the booty is, not a lot of room. Okay, you know what? We'll do 45, and if we need to, we'll cut it. Simple as that. Simple as that. But now I need to divide 45 into 6 sections. Maybe I should, okay, how big is the butt? Because the back half's probably gonna be bigger than the front, right? This is my professional way of doing things. No, it's about this, how is it the same? 22. Sometimes I just don't know. I just don't know. 7, okay. So for these middle sections, I want them to be kind of rectangle, so I'm gonna keep them at 8.5, 8.5. And then for these side sections, due to the math that I did, I ended up getting about 7 inches for each one. So this section will be a straight line and it'll kind of come out 2 inches, and hopefully this all works out. So I decided to do 44 for the round circle of the bottom of the skirt. So I divide that by 2, so I have each side, so that's 22 inches, and I knew I wanted the middle sections to be rectangles, so I just took away the 8.5, and actually I only took away 8, so I still have like, I only took away 8. Anyway, it should be fine. So I have 7 inches on the bottom of each piece. Math. I never do math anymore, so this is fun. And I'm gonna save this part, save that part for later.
Spoiler alert, later never comes, so just ignore that I even mentioned this part of the skirt.
So I'm not gonna lie to you, this isn't actually something that I regularly do. Most times I literally just make the pattern straight on the fabric, but to make it make sense a little bit more to the viewers out there, and to make my life just like a little bit easier in the long run, I'm going to cut the pattern out on this Christmas wrapping paper because I have a humongous roll, and there's some nice straight lines on here which will come in handy. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and cut out all 6 pattern pieces mentioned in the previous segment of the video. let's go. Should I do a montage? That's the question. Time lapse even? All right, I'm gonna start with the front section, which is the easiest section, will be the rectangle in the middle. So like I said before, that one is 8.5 by 16. So 8.5 by 16. Cool. Pretty easy so far. Since both of these side pieces are the exact same size, there's no need to make two. I'll just make one pattern piece and then I can flip it over. Again, the middle section is the same height. Maybe I should make it a little further away. I've never made a pattern with like wrapping paper before. I've made patterns with like brown paper before, but honestly, having these like grid lines is a complete game changer. Highly recommend. Get yourself some cheap wrapping paper. It's making this so easy, it's not even funny. And the bottom section is gonna be 7 inches, which actually I think each square is an inch, so I don't even really need this measuring thing. This is just great, honestly. And the top is 5 inches. And now the fun part, where this is a diagonal line, it's not gonna go along with these lines, so I have to use this just to kind of create some dots here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do the middle section for the back as well as the side section for the back because the measurements are just ever so slightly different.
I forgot to turn my mic on, but I was just saying in the video that I was cutting about a 1/2 inch extra outside of the lines that I had drawn, so I have a little bit of extra fabric for the seam allowance. So make sure you do that too if you are following along this, not even really a tutorial, I don't know what it is, but if you're following along, make sure you cut some extra on the edges.
So in theory, now that I have all my pieces, there's 4 pieces cut out, I should be able to lay them on the fabric, cut it out, sew it together, and be done. But I know it's not gonna work like that because my sewing projects never do. So here's what we're gonna do. Lay it on the fabric, cut all the pieces out. We're gonna pin it together, try it on, see what's going on, make the adjustments, then we're gonna sew. Also need to figure out how I'm gonna close this because generally these need a hidden zipper, which I don't know if I have one. I'll have to check. If not, we may have to go, if I don't have one, what am I gonna do? Because I didn't account for any extra fabric for a button. I'm gonna have to find a zipper somewhere. Yeah. So this isn't something that you have to do depending on the material that you're using, but because my material has little eyelet holes in it, I will actually have to make this skirt 2 layers. So I'm going to have to cut out 2 pieces of fabric for every section of the pattern. And like, if you want this to like lay flat, you could like pin it down, which I might do because it might make it easier. I'm not gonna do too many pins. Maybe I should just try rolling it this way first. Paper is so thin that obviously it will rip it. That should do. I'm also gonna be trying out my new rotary cutter, and I put some paper on the floor, so hopefully I don't cut the floor because I don't actually have a mat under here because I don't have a cutting mat. I've acquired this hunk of wood, which isn't quite big enough as my sections, but it's better than ruining the floor. So we're gonna have to just move it around a little bit. Like I said, I'm not a professional, you know? We just work with what we got around here. And today it is a block of wood. I can't get the right angle. Try from this side. Nope, nope, what's going on? What am I doing? All right guys, I'll see you in 5 years when I cut out all the pieces. Now that I have all 6 sections of the skirt cut out with 2 layers each so that the skirt's not like see-through, I'm gonna go ahead and pin them together like this. So these are the 3 back sections. The slanted section should go on the outside, and it's the same thing for the front pieces. And then I'm going to pin them together along this line. All right, so now that these are all together, it is time for the moment of truth. Is this going to fit, or is it going to be too small? Let's find out. Make sure, oh, I think it's backwards. So the longer portion is gonna go in the back. Ow, 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 I just stabbed myself. Okay, I think we're looking pretty good. Honestly, it's pretty fitted, except for the top, I feel like. I feel like the top is a little open. Could be a little more like that. pretty good length though. Yeah, I can probably just cut off the extra stuff in the back. In any case, I'm pretty sure it's gonna fit. I think that I am going to have to take in the top a tiny bit maybe, because I don't want it to be like falling off. But so far, everything is coming along nicely. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do next. Each section of the skirt has 2 layers. I don't wanna end up with a bunch of like seams on the inside. So what I'm gonna do is sew each section together as 1 layer. So we're gonna end up with like 2 skirts basically, and sew them inside out, kind of like if you were like sewing a pillow, you know what I mean? It'll make more sense like as we do it. Now I have to take these apart and then sew them together separately. All right, so I'm gonna do something that generally I'm usually too lazy to do, not even gonna lie. So I have my sections sewn together, and I was like just thinking today, I was like, why did I even make this so many sections? This literally just could have been 1 piece of fabric, so not really sure why I ended up doing it in 3 sections. You could probably just make this 1 section.
Just a quick note, having those 2 seams there in the front did actually make it a lot easier to make the slit, but if you don't want to make the slit, then definitely just make this all 1 piece of fabric.
But I guess I just decided to make more work for myself than there needed to be. Since I have 2 layers for the front and 2 layers for the back, they have to be kind of like sandwiched together like this, so the seams are gonna be facing each other, and I want them to be flat because I don't want them to be like all lumpy and like weird. So I am going to iron all of these little seams down flat and try to be professional, because honestly, we all know I'm not, but I'm gonna try my best. I'm trying my best this time, even though I should have just made this 1 piece of fabric. It would have made my life so much easier. Wouldn't involve any ironing. I just don't know why I've done this, but I'm just gonna flatten these babies out. This is the way I've done it. This is the way it's gonna be. Oh my goodness. I think my iron's too hot. I feel like it got brown. I don't want to burn the fabric. Just flatten it. And I'm literally just gonna do this for every section. So there should be 4 of these sections that need to be flattened out. It's not going every second with you, I wanna know. I think that I've made the executive decision that the back does not need to be longer than the front. So I'm going to cut off the excess because it's gonna save me trouble in trying to line up the bottoms later. So I'm just gonna cut it off now. Okay, 1 problem solved. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and sew up the side seam here so that we have 1 long piece of fabric. And since I have 2 layers, I'm gonna end up with 2 long pieces of fabric. We're pretty much in the home stretch, like we're almost done. So I'm going to basically lay both my fabrics together with the seams facing outward, like this. And try to like match up like the lines as best as I can. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect because I am human and I'm not a machine, and anytime you make something with your hands, more often than not, it's not going to be perfect. I think I've kind of decided against doing the waistband. I feel like I don't really need it, and a lot of these types of skirts don't have that. So what I'm gonna do now is actually go along the bottom and sew both of these pieces together. I do actually want to make a little slit.
I made a few mistakes here with this whole slit situation, so if you are using this as a tutorial and you are following along, make sure you watch this whole section before you go ahead and make your slit. Okay, continue.
I think this is right around where I want to put it. So I'm just gonna like draw a triangle. So when I'm sewing this, I'm going to sew in a triangle right here so that when I flip it inside out, or right side in rather, I will have a little slit here and it'll be all cute and flattering and whatnot. I just have a pencil because it's kind of just like whatever. I want my slit to be nice and modest. So I'm just gonna make it 2 inches. So I'm gonna sew up to there. I'll do 1.5 just to be safe. Don't want anything poking out of there, you know. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and sew the bottom of this together, and actually I am also going to sew the top of this together. I just have basically a long tube of fabric, and for some reason I ended up with some extra on one side, which I don't really know. I'm just gonna ignore it for now, and we're gonna flip it inside out. So now that we've done this, all the seams are on the inside. There's nothing to scratch or like fray or whatever. It's just all on the inside. And since there's 2 layers, there's like, you can't see through these little eyelet holes. I'm gonna go ahead and iron the top seam and the bottom seam so that they're not kind of like fluffy like this, so that they sit flat. I would just like to take a minute to address a mistake that I made. So when I sewed the slit, I sewed it in a triangle. When you flip it right side in, it's all bunchy and weird and doesn't really come out right. So I went ahead again and sewed it in a square, and I'm gonna seam rip this triangle part and hopefully it works out. If it doesn't, I don't really know what I'm gonna do. Yeah, I'll let you know what happens.
Like I said, some mistakes were made. After sewing it in a square and flipping it right side in, this is what it looked like. Still bunchy, still weird, still very not right. So I did have to undo the whole stitching on the slit and kind of rework it, which I'll explain in the next clip.
It's definitely been like a solid week and a half since I started the journey of creating the skirt, and like, it's not like it's something that I couldn't have done in one day, but when you're filming something like this, it's kind of like you have to film it when it's like sunny and like not dark, and like, you know, you kind of want to get good angles, yada yada yada. Anyway, so what I ended up doing with the bottom is, so I did end up putting the seam around the entire bottom, and then for the little slit in the last clip, we were kind of left with a weird bunchy looking situation. I ended up cutting the stitching that was there, flipped it right side in, and then folded it in and did the stitching. I really hope that made sense. And then I did have to do a little bit of like hand stitching right in here, just because I didn't have a lot of like material folded under there. So I wanted to make sure that, you know, the seams and the threads wouldn't be like poking out. And it's funny because originally this side of the fabric was going to be the outside, but because the slit didn't line up with this seam, it just didn't really work. Now the outside of the dress, or the skirt, sorry, is this side, and the slit is actually on the left side, which I wanted it to be on the right side, but you know what, we're just kind of making things work at this point. So now really the last thing left to do is to close it up. So this is the front of the skirt, and the only thing I have left to do is this side. Now I'm a little worried because I feel like I made this skirt like the tiniest bit too small. Like I feel like I should have had an extra ½ an inch, which I don't. And now I'm a little bit worried that this is not even going to fit me, so that is fun. It's time to put in the zipper. Now I should have planned ahead. I should have had a zipper, but I don't have money. I'm not going anywhere right now, and I don't have the perfect zipper. So here is the options, okay? A really long light pink one, which is not a hidden zipper. The only hidden zipper I have is black, and this type of skirt does require a, well, normally they have hidden zippers so that you can't really see it. It kind of looks like it's just seamless all the way around. The only one I have is black, and I'm really bad at putting zippers in, so I don't know if that's gonna go well, especially since the fabric does need to overlap over the zipper, and I don't know if I have the extra room to do that, so that's something. I have a little red one, which I think is gonna be too short, and then I have this pink one, which doesn't match at all. I just grabbed it because it was pink. So I think at this point, I might have to go with this really long one and just do the whole side and make it kind of like a statement thing. Will that look weird? Where like, if I didn't have the slit and it was just like a statement zipper on the side, I'd be like, okay, cool. It's like, that's fine. But where we already have like a statement like slit, like, is this gonna look bad? But at this point, is this the only thing that's really gonna save it from becoming a complete waste of time? Maybe. Okay, so I went ahead and pinned the side of the skirt with the black zipper, which I don't think looks terrible. Like, I mean, obviously it's a black zipper, but I think it's gonna be better than any of the other zippers because it is hidden. You know, you're gonna be able to see it a little bit, but I think like when my arm's down, like, I think it'll be fine. I think that's probably the best route to go. And honestly, I think so far, like, as long as installing the zipper goes well, I don't know, I think it's pretty freaking cute. Obviously, like, this top isn't really the best color to go with it, but like, I don't know, I think she's kind of cute. Please don't ask me how to install a zipper, because installing zippers is literally, like, honestly, it's the hardest thing for me to do, like, when sewing. You would be better off looking up a how to sew a zipper tutorial rather than me trying to explain it, because I don't know if it's a user error or my sewing machine, but usually my zippers usually end up kind of janky, so this probably will not come out perfect, but honestly, I really like it. So let's get sewing up this bad boy. I just keep looking at it in the mirror. It looks pretty freaking cute.
Okay friends, here she is. I'm actually really happy with how it turned out, aside from the zipper. So the zipper is black. I sewed it down a little bit too far, so there's a little bit of a gap at the top of the zipper, which makes the top of the skirt not so tight. So actually, after I finished filming this video, I went and took a zipper off of something else and put it in this skirt, and it looks so much better than it does in this clip. So if you want to see what it looks like, I'll probably show it on the vlog channel sometime. But anyway, I'm really happy with how the skirt turned out after I changed the zipper. And yeah, thanks so much for watching this video that is super long, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!